The crystal vase shattered against the marble floor as 8-year-old Min-jun hurled it across the living room, his face twisted in defiant rage. Shards exploded in every direction while his younger brother Jae-won, only 6, stood on the Italian leather couch with muddy shoes, jumping up and down and screaming at the top of his lungs. In the kitchen, 12-year-old Sung-ho was systematically emptying the contents of the refrigerator onto the floor, smashing eggs and pouring milk into elaborate rivers across the expensive tile. The eldest, 15-year-old Tae-hyun, sat in the corner filming everything on his phone, a cruel smile playing on his lips as he narrated the chaos for his private social media account. This was the scene that greeted Amanda Davidson when she walked through the front door of the Park mansion in Beverly Hills on that fateful Tuesday morning in June. She stopped dead in her tracks, her hands still on the ornate door handle, her eyes widening as she took in the absolute pandemonium before her. A woman in her 50s came running from the hallway, tears streaming down her face, her uniform disheveled and her hair coming loose from its bun. She nearly collided with Amanda in her desperate attempt to escape. "Run," the woman gasped, grabbing Amanda's arm with trembling fingers. "Run while you still can. These children are demons. They're not human. No amount of money is worth this torture." Before Amanda could respond, a water balloon sailed through the air and exploded against the fleeing woman's back, soaking her completely. Jae-won's delighted laughter filled the room as he reached for another balloon from the pile beside him on the destroyed couch. "And that's number 47, Tae-hyun announced to his phone camera, zooming in on the sobbing woman's face. 47 housekeepers, nannies, and maids in 2 years. Nobody can last more than a month. Most don't make it past a week. Let's see how long this new one survives." He turned the camera toward Amanda, and for the first time, the 4 boys actually looked at the woman standing in their doorway. Amanda Davidson was 32 years old, stood 5'8" with rich dark skin that glowed like polished mahogany. Her natural hair was pulled back in a practical bun, and her brown eyes held a sharpness that had been honed by years of surviving circumstances far worse than 4 spoiled children. She wore simple clothes, nothing fancy, nothing that suggested she was intimidated by the obvious wealth surrounding her. Her arms were crossed over her chest, and her expression was completely, utterly calm. If you want to know how Amanda completely transformed these 4 nightmare children and made one of the richest men in California fall desperately in love with her, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. Drop a comment right now telling me what you would do if you walked into this chaos on your first day of work. Like this video if you're ready for the wildest ride of your life, and check out our other videos for more incredible stories just like this one. Tae-hyun lowered his phone slowly, something flickering in his eyes that he quickly masked with arrogance. He had expected her to run. They all ran. Every single person who walked through that door took one look at them and fled within hours, sometimes minutes. But this woman wasn't moving. "Min-jun," Amanda said, her voice cutting through the noise with the precision of a surgical blade, "pick up every piece of that vase. Jae-won, get off that couch and put those water balloons in a trash bag. Sung-ho, I can hear you in that kitchen. You have exactly 3 minutes to clean up whatever mess you've made. And you," she pointed directly at Tae-hyun, "put that phone away." The silence that followed was deafening. Then all 4 boys burst into laughter. "Did you hear that?" Tae-hyun howled, nearly doubling over. "She actually thinks she can tell us what to do. Oh, this is going to be entertaining." Min-jun picked up another decorative item from the table beside him, a small porcelain figurine that was probably worth more than most people's cars. "Make me," he said, and he threw it directly at Amanda's head. Her hand shot up and caught it inches from her face. The movement was so fast, so unexpected, that all 4 boys froze. She examined the figurine calmly, turning it over in her hands as if inspecting it for damage. "Your father hired me to take care of this house and to take care of you 4, Amanda said, setting the figurine down on the nearest surface. "And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now, I gave you instructions. I suggest you follow them. Or what?" Sung-ho emerged from the kitchen, egg yolk dripping from his hands, a challenging smirk on his face. "What are you going to do? Hit us? Go ahead. We'll sue you. We'll have you arrested." Our dad owns the best lawyers in the country. I'm not going to hit you, Amanda replied, her voice never rising above a conversational tone. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to cry and run away like everyone else you've terrorized. Then what? Jae-won demanded, still standing on the ruined couch. What can you do to us? Nothing. You can't do anything. We're the Parks. We do whatever we want. Amanda smiled, and something about that smile made Taehyun take an unconscious step backward. It wasn't a friendly smile. It wasn't a nervous smile. It was the smile of someone who knew something they didn't. You'll see, she said simply. Now, I'm going to inspect the house. When I come back, I expect this mess to be cleaned up. She turned and walked away, her footsteps echoing on the marble floor as she disappeared down the hallway. The boys stared after her for a long moment. She's crazy, Min-jun finally said, breaking the silence. Like, actually crazy. She's bluffing, Taehyun decided, his confidence returning. She's got nothing. She's just like all the others. She just doesn't know it yet. Let's make her know it, Sung-ho grinned. Operation Nightmare. Full force. No mercy. The four brothers exchanged looks of pure mischievous delight, completely unaware that they had just declared war on someone who never, ever lost. The Park brothers launched their attack at dinner time. They had spent the entire afternoon planning, coordinating, preparing their most devastating pranks. The new maid had spent those same hours quietly moving through the house, taking inventory of the pantry, learning the layout, making phone calls, and ignoring their existence entirely. Her calm indifference infuriated them more than any reaction could have. When Amanda called them to the dining room at 6 o'clock sharp, they were ready. Dinner is served, she announced, standing beside the elaborate dining table with her hands clasped in front of her. Taehyun smirked as he approached the table. This was going to be good. They had put salt in the sugar container, hot sauce in the ketchup bottle, replaced the soup with dishwater, and hidden a fake spider in the bread basket. Standard opening moves. But when he reached the table, it was empty. Completely empty. No plates, no food, no utensils. Where's dinner? Sung-ho demanded, looking around in confusion. There is no dinner, Amanda replied calmly. The words hung in the air like a physical presence. What do you mean there's no dinner? Min-jun asked, his young face scrunching up in confusion. I mean exactly what I said. There is no dinner tonight. Not for you four. You can't do that. Jae-won shouted, his earlier bravado cracking. You have to feed us. It's the law. You'll go to jail. Amanda pulled out her phone and held it up for them to see. On the screen was a text message exchange with someone saved as Mr. Park CEO. Your father has given me full authority over household decisions, she said, reading from the screen. He specifically stated, and I quote, do whatever it takes. I don't care how. I just need them to behave. You have my complete support. He also mentioned that he's tried everything else. Expensive therapists, military-style boot camps, 3 different boarding schools, bribery, punishment, reward systems. Nothing has worked. He's desperate. And desperate times call for desperate measures. He would never agree to starve us, Taehyun said, but his voice lacked its usual confidence. He loves us. Does he? Amanda asked, and her voice held a note of genuine curiosity. Is that why he works 18 hours a day and hasn't eaten a meal with you in over a year? Is that why he couldn't even be here today when I started? Is that why every single person who has tried to care for you has been driven away by your behavior? Is this what love looks like in your family? The silence that followed was painful. Shut up, Sung-ho said, but his voice cracked. You don't know anything about our family. You're right, Amanda acknowledged. I don't. But I know that you're all hungry, and there's no food for you tonight. So I suggest you go to your rooms, think about your actions today, and maybe tomorrow we can have a real conversation. We have food in our rooms, Min-jun announced triumphantly. We always keep snacks. Emergency supplies. You can't stop us from eating those. Amanda's smile returned. Oh, you mean these snacks? She pulled open the doors of the china cabinet behind her, revealing piles and piles of candy bars, chip bags, cookie boxes, and every other hidden treasure the boys had squirreled away in their rooms. I found them during my inspection this afternoon. All of them. From all of your hiding spots. From behind your video game consoles, under your mattresses, in your closet compartments, even the ones taped behind your headboards. I've been doing this job for a long time, boys. I know every trick in the book. Taehyun's face went pale. You went through our rooms? That's invasion of privacy. We'll tell Dad. He'll fire you. You can tell him whatever you want. His number is right there in my phone. Call him. Right now. Tell him exactly what I've done and see what he says. None of the boys moved. Amanda nodded slowly. That's what I thought. Now, here's how this is going to work. Every day, you follow my rules, you speak respectfully, you do your chores, you complete your homework, you behave like human beings instead of wild animals, and you get to eat. Simple cause and effect. Actions have consequences. This is the lesson your father's money has shielded you from your entire lives. But not anymore. This is child abuse, Sung-ho spat, but tears were forming in his eyes. This is parenting, Amanda corrected. Something none of you have ever actually experienced. Now go to bed. All of you. Tomorrow is a new day. The boys scattered, retreating to their rooms in shock. For the first time in their lives, they had encountered something their father's wealth and their own cruelty couldn't overcome. They had met someone who simply wasn't afraid of them. That night, their father, Park Ji-hoon, came home at midnight as usual. He was a devastatingly handsome Korean man in his early 40s, with sharp features softened by exhaustion. His designer suit was rumpled, his tie loosened, and his eyes carried the weight of running a billion-dollar tech empire. He found Amanda sitting in the living room, reading a book by lamplight. You're still here, he said, and there was genuine surprise in his voice. Most people don't last past dinner. I'm not most people, Amanda replied, setting down her book. Mr. Park, I need to talk to you about my methods. Ji-hoon sighed heavily, sinking into the chair across from her. Please. Call me Ji-hoon. We're going to be seeing a lot of each other if you actually manage to stay. What methods are you talking about? I've denied the boys dinner tonight. Ji-hoon's eyes widened. What? They destroyed a vase, ruined your couch, made a mess of the kitchen, and attacked the previous housekeeper with water balloons. When I told them to clean up, they laughed at me. When I tried to serve them dinner, I discovered they had sabotaged the food with various pranks. So I didn't feed them. You just didn't feed them. That's correct. Ji-hoon stared at her for a long moment. Then, to Amanda's surprise, he started laughing. Not a cruel laugh, but the exhausted, slightly hysterical laugh of a man who had been pushed past his breaking point years ago. Do you know how much money I've spent trying to fix those boys? He asked, wiping tears from his eyes. Millions. Literally millions of dollars on therapists and specialists and programs. And you just didn't feed them. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective. Mr. Park. Ji-hoon, your sons aren't bad kids. They're hurt kids. They're angry kids. And they've learned that acting out is the only way to get any attention in this house. Ji-hoon's laughter died abruptly. What's that supposed to mean? When was the last time you had a real conversation with any of them? When was the last time you threw a ball with Jae-won or helped Min-jun with his homework? When was the last time you asked Sung-ho about his interests or talked to Taehyun about his future? I run a company that employs over 20,000 people, Ji-hoon said, his voice turning cold. I can't just take time off to play catch. And yet you'll take time off to interview the 47th person trying to keep your children alive while you're never home. What exactly are you working for, Ji-hoon? What's the point of all this money if your children hate you and don't know you? Ji-hoon stood up abruptly, his face tight with anger. You've been here for less than 12 hours. Don't presume to lecture me about my family. You're right, Amanda said calmly, not rising from her seat. I barely know you. But I know what happens to children who feel abandoned. I know what happens when kids have everything except what they actually need. And I know that if something doesn't change soon, you're going to lose them forever. Ji-hoon opened his mouth to respond, then closed it again. He stood there for a long moment, emotions warring across his face. Finally, he spoke. My wife left 5 years ago. She took all her things, emptied one of my accounts, and disappeared to Europe with her yoga instructor. She left a note for the boys. It said, Mommy needs to find herself. Be good for Daddy. That was it. That was all she gave them after 15 years of pretending to be a family. Amanda's expression softened slightly. I'm sorry. After that, the boys changed. Taehyun shut down completely. He used to be such a warm kid, always hugging everyone, always smiling. Now he just documents everything with that damn phone, like he's trying to prove the world is as ugly as he believes it is. Sung-ho became angry. He fights everything and everyone. Min-jun started destroying things. And Jae-won. Jae-won cries in his sleep. He doesn't remember it in the morning, but I've heard him through the door, calling for her. And you? Amanda asked quietly. How did you cope? Ji-hoon let out a bitter laugh. I worked. I threw myself into the company until I was too exhausted to feel anything. I told myself I was doing it for them, building them a secure future. But really, I was just running away. I was so angry at her, so hurt, that I couldn't stand to look at the boys without seeing her face. They all have her eyes. So you abandoned them too. Just in a different way. The words hit Ji-hoon like a physical blow. He staggered slightly, then sat back down, burying his face in his hands. I've made such a mess of everything, he whispered. I don't know how to fix it. I don't even know where to start. Amanda leaned forward. Start by being here. Start by showing up. Let me handle the discipline, the structure, the day-to-day. But you need to reconnect with your sons before it's too late. They're not bad kids, Ji-hoon. They're just kids who desperately want their father to love them. Ji-hoon looked up at her, and for the first time, Amanda saw the real man behind the CEO facade. He was broken, scared, and completely lost. But there was hope in his eyes too, a desperate, fragile hope. Do you really think you can help them? He asked. I know I can, Amanda replied. But only if you help too. Deal? Ji-hoon nodded slowly. Deal. The next morning, chaos erupted before dawn. Amanda was already up, preparing for the battle she knew was coming. She heard the sounds of doors slamming, feet stomping, voices rising in angry chorus. The 4 boys appeared in the kitchen like a hurricane of fury and hunger. They hadn't eaten in almost 18 hours, and their usual bravado was cracking around the edges. We want breakfast, Taehyun announced, attempting to project authority. Now. Good morning to you too, Amanda replied calmly. She was standing at the stove, and the most incredible smells were wafting through the kitchen. Bacon sizzling, eggs frying, pancakes browning to golden perfection. The boys' stomachs growled audibly. I see that you've been cooking, Sung-ho said, eyeing the food hungrily. So give it to us. This breakfast isn't for you, Amanda said. This is my breakfast. You 4 haven't earned the right to eat yet. We're sorry, okay? Min-jun blurted out. We're sorry about yesterday. Now can we please have food? Amanda turned to look at him, really look at him. His young face was pale, dark circles under his eyes from a night of hunger and guilt. Behind his defiance, she could see a little boy who just wanted someone to take care of him. Sorry for what, specifically, she asked, keeping her voice neutral. For breaking the vase, Min-jun said uncertainly. And for messing up the couch, Jae-won added, fidgeting. And for the kitchen, Sung-ho mumbled. Amanda turned to Tae-hyun. The teenager stood with his arms crossed, jaw clenched, refusing to participate in what he clearly saw as a humiliating surrender. Tae-hyun? Amanda prompted. Anything you'd like to add? I didn't do anything, he said coldly. I just filmed it. Exactly. You watched your brothers destroy your home, attack an innocent woman, and create chaos, and you did nothing to stop it. In fact, you encouraged it. You narrated it for entertainment. That's not nothing, Tae-hyun. That's complicity. Big words for a maid, Tae-hyun sneered. I have a master's degree in child psychology and 10 years of experience working with troubled youth, Amanda responded evenly. I also spent 4 years in the foster system and 3 years homeless before I put myself through college. I've seen more darkness than you can imagine, and I've clawed my way out of it through pure determination. So please, spare me the superior attitude. You're a 15-year-old who's never faced a real consequence in his life. You don't intimidate me. Tae-hyun's face went red, but he had no response. None of the boys did. They just stared at her, seeing her differently now. The apology is a start, Amanda continued, turning back to her cooking. But words are easy. Actions are what matter. Today, you're going to prove that you're capable of being decent human beings. You're going to clean every inch of the mess you made yesterday. You're going to repair what can be repaired and pay for what can't out of your allowances. And you're going to do it without complaining, without fighting, and without trying to sabotage my efforts. And then we get to eat? Jae-won asked hopefully. If you complete all of that by lunchtime, yes, you'll get lunch. That's still 6 more hours without food. Sung-ho protested. Then I suggest you start cleaning. If you're enjoying this story, take a second to like this video and drop a comment telling me how you would have handled these boys. Would you have been as tough as Amanda? Do you think she's going too far? Let me know what you think, and make sure you've subscribed so you can see how this all unfolds. The cleaning began immediately. The boys worked with a furious efficiency born of desperation and hunger. Amanda supervised from a distance, offering neither help nor criticism, simply watching. By 10 o'clock, the living room was spotless. The broken vase had been swept up, the couch had been cleaned to the best of their abilities though it would need professional treatment, and the kitchen was practically sparkling. Amanda inspected everything with a critical eye. Not bad, she admitted. But you missed a spot. Where? Min-jun asked, looking around frantically. The hallway. When I walked in yesterday, I noticed handprints on the walls going all the way down to the game room. Those need to be cleaned too. That wasn't us. Jae-won protested. Those have been there for months. The other maids were supposed to clean them. And yet here they are, still dirty. In this house, we don't ignore problems just because they're old. We fix them. The boys exchanged frustrated looks but trudged off to clean the hallway. As they worked, something began to shift. Without devices to distract them, without the option of escape, they had no choice but to exist in each other's company. And slowly, something remarkable began to happen. They started talking. Remember when Mom used to make us clean our rooms before Christmas? Sung-ho said quietly, scrubbing at a particularly stubborn handprint. She'd put on that old Korean music and dance around while we worked, Tae-hyun added, and there was something vulnerable in his voice, something raw. I used to hate it. Now I... He trailed off, unable or unwilling to finish the sentence. I miss her too, Min-jun said softly. Jae-won stopped cleaning altogether. I don't remember her very well, he admitted, his small voice cracking. I was only 1 when she left. I just know she went away and didn't come back. Did she not like us? Was it something we did? The older brothers gathered around their youngest sibling, their earlier hostility completely forgotten. Sung-ho put a hand on Jae-won's shoulder. It wasn't anything you did, Sung-ho said firmly. Mom was just broken inside. She couldn't be happy, no matter what. It wasn't about us. Then why did she leave? Nobody had an answer. Amanda watched from around the corner, her heart aching for these children. They weren't monsters. They were just hurt, lonely kids who had been left behind by one parent and forgotten by another. Their terrible behavior was a desperate cry for attention, for boundaries, for someone to actually see them. At exactly noon, Amanda called the boys to the dining room. When they arrived, exhausted and hungry, they found a beautiful lunch spread out on the table. Sandwiches, fruit, fresh vegetables, cold drinks. Nothing fancy, but wholesome and satisfying. The boys devoured everything in minutes. Amanda sat at the head of the table, watching them eat with a small smile. This is so good, Min-joon said around a mouthful of sandwich. Like, really good. Amazing what food tastes like when you're actually hungry for it, Amanda observed. When you've worked for it. When you've earned it. Taehyun looked up from his plate. Is this what you're going to do every day? Make us work for our food like animals? Not like animals. Like people. Like responsible, contributing members of a household. In the real world, nobody gets anything for free. You work, you earn, you receive. That's the natural order of things. Your father's wealth has shielded you from that reality, but it's done you no favors. You've become entitled, cruel, and desperately unhappy. I'm going to help you become something better. What if we don't want your help? Sung-ho asked, but there was less venom in his voice than before. Then you're welcome to go back to the way things were. Driving away everyone who tries to care for you. Making your father more and more distant. Growing older and angrier and more alone. Or you can try something different. It's your choice. The boys fell silent, contemplating her words. That evening, something unprecedented happened. Ji-hoon came home at 6 o'clock. He walked through the door looking nervous and uncertain, like a stranger in his own home. Dad? Jaewon's voice was pure shock. What are you doing here? Amanda and I talked last night. She said I should, that I need to. Ji-hoon struggled, clearly out of practice at expressing himself. I thought we could have dinner together. As a family. The silence that followed was heavy with years of absence and pain. You're not going back to work? Sung-ho asked suspiciously. Not tonight. Tonight, I'm here. Nobody quite knew how to react. Amanda emerged from the kitchen carrying a large pot of traditional Korean stew, the recipes she had found in a book that morning and spent hours preparing. Dinner is served, she announced. Everyone sit down. For the first time in over a year, the Park family sat down at a table together. The meal was awkward at first, stilted conversation punctuated by long silences. But slowly, painfully, walls began to crumble. I got an A on my math test last week, Min-joon offered hesitantly. Ji-hoon's face lit up with genuine surprise and pride. You did? That's wonderful. Math was always hard for me in school. Really? But you run a tech company. I didn't start out good at it. I had to work really, really hard. I studied constantly, got tutored, practiced until numbers stopped looking like foreign symbols. Nobody succeeds without struggle, Min-joon. Your A means you put in the effort. Min-joon smiled, a real smile, for the first time since Amanda had arrived. The conversation continued, each boy sharing small pieces of their lives, each revelation met with attention and interest from their father. It wasn't perfect. There were moments of tension, old wounds that bubbled to the surface. But it was a start. After dinner, as Amanda cleaned up the kitchen, Ji-hoon found her. Thank you, he said quietly. I don't know what you said to them, or what you did, but they're different. They're my boys again. I can see them in there, behind all that anger. They've always been there, Amanda replied. They just needed someone to look. Ji-hoon studied her for a long moment, his eyes tracing the lines of her face, the set of her shoulders, the quiet strength that radiated from her presence. "Who are you, Amanda Johnson?" he asked softly. "Where did you come from?" "That's a long story. I have time. For the first time in years, I actually have time." Amanda set down the dish she was drying and turned to face him. "Why do you want to know?" "Because you're the first person who's ever walked into this house and seen us. Really seen us. Not as problems to solve or paychecks to earn, but as people. As a family in crisis. I want to know how you learned to do that." Amanda was quiet for a moment, weighing her words. "I grew up in foster care," she finally said. "My mother was killed when I was 7. Drive-by shooting. Wrong place, wrong time. I had no other family, so into the system I went. I bounced around for years. Some homes were okay. Some were." She paused, her jaw tightening. "Not okay. I learned early that adults couldn't be trusted, that I could only count on myself. I'm sorry. Don't be. It made me who I am. When I aged out of the system at 18, I was homeless. Slept in shelters, on benches, in my car when I finally could afford one. But I never gave up. I worked 2, 3 jobs at a time. I earned my GED, then my associate's degree, then my bachelor's, then my master's. Every step forward was a fight. But I kept fighting. Why childcare? Why help families after everything families put you through? Because I know what it feels like to be a kid who's been abandoned. Who's been forgotten. Who's been treated like a problem instead of a person. I became the adult I needed when I was young. Every child I help, every family I put back together, it heals something in me too." Ji-hoon's eyes were glistening. "You're remarkable," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "I'm just stubborn," Amanda replied with a slight smile. "Too stubborn to quit." They stood there in the kitchen, something unspoken passing between them. Then the sound of breaking glass shattered the moment. They rushed to the living room to find Jae-won standing over another broken vase, tears streaming down his face. But this time, it was clearly an accident. The little boy was trembling, looking up at Amanda with terror in his eyes. "I'm sorry," he sobbed. "I didn't mean to. I was just running and I hit the table and it fell and I'm sorry. Please don't take away food again, I'm sorry." Amanda knelt down in front of him, her expression gentle. "Jae-won, look at me." The little boy forced himself to meet her eyes. "Accidents happen. That's different from deliberately destroying things to hurt people. Do you understand the difference?" He nodded shakily. "Good. Now, what do we do when we have an accident?" We clean it up." "That's right. And then what?" We're more careful next time." "Exactly. See? You're learning. You're growing. That's all I ask of you boys. Not perfection. Just progress." Jae-won launched himself at her, wrapping his small arms around her neck in a desperate hug. "I like you," he whispered. "Please don't leave like the others." Amanda hugged him back, her eyes meeting Ji-hoon's over the child's head. "I'm not going anywhere," she promised. The next 2 days were not easy. Old habits died hard, and the boys tested Amanda constantly. Sung-ho threw a tantrum when she insisted he finish his homework before playing video games. Min-jun tried to sneak food from the pantry in the middle of the night, only to discover that Amanda had installed a simple lock. Taehyun pushed back against every rule, every request, every attempt to connect. But Amanda held firm. She didn't yell. She didn't bargain. She simply stated the rules and enforced the consequences with unwavering consistency. Meals were earned through good behavior. Privileges were tied to responsibility. Respect was required, not requested. By the 3rd day, the transformation was remarkable. That morning, Amanda came downstairs to find the living room already clean. The boys were dressed, their beds made, their homework completed and laid out on the table for review. They sat quietly at the breakfast table, waiting. "Good morning," Sung-ho said, and there was no sarcasm in his voice. "We set the table. Is that okay?" Amanda looked around, genuinely surprised. "That's more than okay. That's wonderful. We talked last night," Taehyun explained, staring at the table. "All four of us. About everything. About Mom, about Dad, about how we've been acting. And we decided we don't want to be those kids anymore. The ones everyone runs away from. The ones nobody can love." "You were never unlovable," Amanda said firmly. "You were hurting. There's a difference." "But we hurt other people because we were hurting," Min-jun said quietly. "That's not okay either." "No, it's not. But the fact that you recognize that you want to change, that's what matters. That's growth." "Amanda?" Jae-won raised his hand like he was in school. "Can we have breakfast now? We've been really good." Amanda laughed, a genuine, warm sound that filled the kitchen. "Yes, Jae-won. You can have breakfast now." Over the next few weeks, the Park household underwent a complete transformation. The boys still had difficult moments. They still argued and fought and pushed boundaries. But now there was structure, consistency, and most importantly, presence. Ji-hoon kept his promise, coming home for dinner every night, spending weekends with his sons, slowly rebuilding the bonds that had frayed almost to breaking. And Amanda was the constant at the center of it all. She was there every morning with a nutritious breakfast and clear expectations. She was there every afternoon to help with homework and mediate sibling disputes. She was there every evening, cooking dinner, leading conversation, modeling the kind of healthy communication the family had never known. Ji-hoon found himself watching her more and more often. The way she handled the boys with perfect balance of firmness and affection. The way she laughed, throwing her head back and letting joy transform her face. The way she challenged him, never accepting his excuses or allowing him to retreat into his work. "You're staring again," Amanda said one evening, catching him watching her as she dried dishes. "Sorry," Ji-hoon said, not sounding sorry at all. "I was just thinking. About how different everything is. How different I am. Before you came, I was just existing. Going through the motions. Now I actually look forward to coming home. I look forward to seeing my sons. I look forward to seeing you." Amanda kept her eyes on the dish she was drying. "That's good. That's what the boys need. A father who wants to be present. Is that all this is? Me becoming a better father?" The question hung in the air between them. "Ji-hoon. I know. I know you work for me. I know it's complicated. But I can't stop thinking about you, Amanda. I can't stop wanting to be near you. And it's not just gratitude for what you've done for my family. It's you. Everything about you." Amanda set down the dish carefully. "I'm your employee. Technically, you work for the household. And technically, I could hire someone else to manage the household, which would make you still the person living in your house and taking care of your children. Is that a no?" Amanda finally looked at him. His eyes were vulnerable in a way she had never seen before, stripped of the CEO armor, just a man who was terrified of rejection but unwilling to let fear stop him. "It's a not yet," she said softly. "Your sons need stability right now. They need to know that I'm not going anywhere, that I'm not another person who's going to disappear from their lives. If we started something and it didn't work out. What if it does work out? Then we'll have plenty of time to figure that out after the boys are more secure. Can you wait?" Ji-hoon nodded slowly. "For you? I can wait forever." 3 months passed. The Park family continued to heal and grow. Taehyun stopped hiding behind his phone and started opening up about his dreams of becoming a filmmaker. Sung-ho channeled his anger into sports, joining the school basketball team and discovering a talent he never knew he had. Min-jun's grades improved dramatically, and he started making friends at school for the first time. And Jae-won smiled more than he cried. The nightmares about his mother fading as new, happier memories took their place. Ji-hoon cut his work hours dramatically, promoting capable people into positions that allowed him to delegate. He was there for basketball games and parent-teacher conferences. He helped with homework and learned to cook alongside Amanda. He became the father he should have been all along. And through it all, something deepened between him and Amanda. Quiet moments that stretched longer than necessary. Glances that held entire conversations. Hands that touched during mundane tasks and lingered. The breaking point came on a Saturday afternoon. The boys were at the park with their new live-in tutor, someone Amanda had helped hire to reduce her workload and ensure consistency when she eventually had to step back. Ji-hoon and Amanda were alone in the house for the first time in months. The boys seem ready, Ji-hoon said, finding her in the garden she had started cultivating. They're stable now. Healthy. Happy. Amanda looked up from the roses she was pruning. They've come so far. I'm proud of them. I'm proud of you. And grateful. More grateful than I could ever express. You don't owe me anything. This is my job. It stopped being just a job a long time ago. For both of us. Amanda set down her pruning shears. What are you saying? Ji-hoon walked toward her, closing the distance between them until they were standing inches apart. I'm saying that I've waited. I've been patient. I've respected your boundaries and focused on my sons. But every day that passes, I fall more in love with you. And I can't wait anymore. I need to know if you feel the same. Ji-hoon. Amanda, you walked into my house when it was falling apart and you put it back together. Not just the boys, not just my relationship with them, but me. You showed me what it means to actually live instead of just exist. You challenged me and changed me and made me want to be better. I love you. I've loved you for months. Maybe since that first night when you looked at me and saw through all my defenses to the broken man underneath. This is complicated, Amanda whispered, but she wasn't backing away. Life is complicated. We make it work anyway. The boys adore you. They asked me last week when I was going to stop being a coward and ask you to stay forever. They did? Taehyun's exact words were, Dad, if you don't marry Amanda, we're going to be very disappointed in you. Sung-ho said he'd never forgive me if I let you get away. Min-jun started planning a wedding. And Jae-won asked if he could call you Mom. Tears sprang to Amanda's eyes. Jae-won asked that? They love you. I love you. We want you to be part of this family. Not as an employee. As a mother. As a wife. As the heart of this home that you've already become. Amanda looked at this man who had been so lost when she first met him. She saw how far he had come, how hard he had worked, how completely he had transformed. She saw the father who now showed up for his children, the man who had learned to open his heart again after years of self-imposed isolation. And she saw her own future reflected in his eyes. Yes, she said. Yes. Yes, I love you too. Yes, I want to stay. Yes, I want to be part of this family. Yes to all of it. Ji-hoon's face broke into the most beautiful smile she had ever seen. He pulled her into his arms, and when their lips met, it felt like coming home. The boys returned an hour later to find their father and Amanda sitting on the porch together, hands intertwined. Finally, Taehyun said, rolling his eyes with exaggerated teenage disgust that couldn't hide his grin. Does this mean we can call her Mom now? Jae-won asked eagerly. Amanda opened her arms, and the little boy ran into them. You can call me whatever feels right to you, she said, hugging him close. Mom, Jae-won decided. It feels right to call you Mom. One by one, the other boys joined the embrace. Even Taehyun, the too cool teenager, found himself wrapped up in the family pile, and he didn't try to escape. Ji-hoon looked at the woman who had changed everything, surrounded by the sons she had saved, and he knew that this was just the beginning of their story. The wedding took place 6 months later, a beautiful ceremony in the garden Amanda had cultivated from nothing. All 4 boys served as groomsmen, standing proud beside their father as he pledged his life to the woman who had taught them all how to love again. In her vows, Amanda spoke about second chances. About broken things that could be mended. About families that were made not just by blood, but by choice and commitment and showing up every single day. And Ji-hoon, with tears streaming down his face, promised to spend the rest of his life earning the gift she had given him. The gift of his children's love. The gift of her own heart. The gift of a home filled with laughter and warmth and the beautiful chaos of a family finally made whole. After the ceremony, as the reception flowed around them with music and dancing and the joyful sounds of celebration, Taehyun approached his new stepmother. "You know," he said, his voice casual but his eyes serious, "I used to film everything because I wanted proof that the world was as ugly as I thought. That people would always let you down. That nothing good ever lasted. And now?" Amanda asked. Taehyun pulled out his phone and showed her the video he'd been secretly recording. It was footage of the wedding, of the family, of Ji-hoon's face when he first saw Amanda in her dress, of Jae-won skipping down the aisle throwing flower petals, of Sung-ho trying not to cry and failing completely. "Now I film things because I want to remember how beautiful they can be. Because of you. Because you taught me that people can surprise you. That happy endings aren't just in fairy tales." Amanda pulled him into a hug. "I'm so proud of you," she whispered. "I'm so proud of all of you." And as the sun set over the California hills, painting the sky in shades of gold and rose, the Park family stood together on the edge of their new beginning. A father who had learned to be present. For boys who had learned to trust. And the remarkable woman who had starved them for 3 days and loved them forever. If this story moved you, make sure to subscribe, like, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment telling me what you thought of Amanda's unconventional methods and whether you think she was right to be so tough. Check out our other videos for more incredible stories of transformation, family, and love that conquers all. Thank you for watching until the end. This story proves that sometimes the people who challenge us the most are the ones who love us the best. Until next time.